Good evening, everyone. I'm chairing the meeting tonight as Mayor Bert Pomeroy and Councilor Odell are traveling back from a FCM conference and they got delayed, and we have Councilor Williams on the line. So call the meeting to order. Moving into discussion items, and the first one is a request from Kinsman. Denise, I don't know, Councilor Rumble, do you want to?
I can absolutely read it, sure. Okay. So we received correspondence from a member, a lifetime member of the Kinsman Club of Goose Happy Valley. His correspondence states, I'm emailing today with a request from the Kinsman Club of Goose Happy Valley. As you are aware, we are in the process of selling our building at 41 Grenfell Street. We were wondering if the town of Happy Valley Goose Bay would consider putting our charter certificate on display somewhere in the town hall. This document is very historical and valuable and would be honorable for the public to see. The Kinsmen are not folding, but they are adjusting to the times and turning the page into a new chapter of helping the community with its greatest needs. So it's a discussion item only, and I think it's worth noting, to me, it sounds more like safekeeping. So if they do find themselves a new location, if they do get a bricks and mortar building, at this point they're, changing with the times. To me, it sounds like that it's a document that is important to them not to have lost in the shuffle more than anything. And I guess a town hall is a forever building. The only thing I think that would be worth noting is, like anything else that's in the town hall, it would be the potential for loss or damage due to fire, flood, or anything else would not be something that the town would be on the hook for, yeah, if that happened. But I mean, certainly we've got, space on our walls. We've already talked about, we've removed some photos as of late. So in lieu of a heritage center or a building dedicated to the heritage in Happy Valley Goose Bay, which is something that I personally would love to see in our future, but in the absence of that at this time, I don't think it's an unreasonable request.
Yeah, I'm thinking that from the letter, he's saying he wants it on display. The document is very historical and would be honorable for the public to see.
Yeah.
We will wonder if the town of Valley-Goose would consider putting our charter certificate on display.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the town hall, right? Instead,
Right. So if we put it like,
to hold
yeah.
it. But I think, yeah, we got lots of space in here. I don't know what the plans are for in here, but I don't see an issue with that. I mean, like, they've been around for a long and they've helped the community so much.
1971,
Yeah,
I
well,
want to
they've
say.
done a lot of work for this community, and I don't see an issue.
Well, we
with
did
it.
have a lot of discussion on what we're going to do with the walls now that all the pictures are gone, so
Yeah, I think this is a place where we can start.
I think we should start with taking down all the things that's hanging with nothing on it. Is there a plan for that?
We weren't
So-
sure if we were gonna be putting the photos back up or not. We
Oh.
have half the basement full of stuff that came down when renovations were done in here a number of years ago. And need somebody with, I'll say, some sense of archiving to go through it all to determine what should be displayed and what should be put away for safekeeping. We have a lot, and if we put everything up in here, we would have no white space.
True enough.
Yeah.
So it's just for discussion tonight, so if there's no further discussion, we'll move on to the next, the Finance Committee. Council Rumble.
That would be me. So our first couple of items are some housekeeping or tightening of language more than anything. So the first item that we have for discussion is A0047-1, which is our Code of Conduct for Municipal Officials. Now, because this is a 17-page document, I won't read this verbatim. We are all familiar with it. Our Code of Conduct is something that we hold ourselves to and are responsible for, but in the changes that have been made from the changeover of the Municipalities Act of 1999 to the Towns and Local Service District Act, there are some terms such as simple as privileged being changed to closed, but it's just, just to make sure that the necessary changes are made to fit the act. So anybody wants to take the time and review the 17 pages and see if there's anything that, stands out to them. But I do believe that when this comes forward at our public council meeting, this will be just a straightforward vote to amend for language. And the next one,
Hang on, before you
Oh,
go on
yep.
from that one, I think this is probably a really good time that this was talked about as well, because there was recently a counselor suspended. So when you talk about the standard of conduct and the use of influence and misuse of public whatever, it's kind of ironic that it came on the same week that there was a council member suspended. So I think it's very important that everybody reads this.
can you clarify that, Councillor Dyson, just for anybody listening?
With regard to the suspension?
Yes, that's not here.
No, there was, the city of St. John's
Right.
recently
Right.
suspended a
Okay.
counselor.
Yeah, no, just so that everybody listening is aware
This
that.
past week for inappropriate behavior and language towards
Yeah.
staff and, yeah.
Yeah, just so that everybody's aware that it wasn't here in the municipality
No,
of
no,
Happy Valley
no,
Goose
that's
Day.
right, that's right.
Yeah,
But it just goes to the importance of what what the policy is.
absolutely. And that's why I said, I think that before, the next, because we've all signed our, documentation and done we've done our training and our due diligence, but, because this is our policy that was last adopted in November, when the 14th council was newly elected, so it's not a significant amount of time. What are we, 6 months since we last reviewed this document? But again, I think that the changes at this time, with my looking at the CAO NREA, it was just, the only changes that were made were just to fall in line with the regulations, were they? Like, there was no change to the intent, just to the wording?
That is correct. There were just a few words changed, as you mentioned. The word privilege is no longer used under the Towns and Local Service District Act. And also, I'll note that there are 2 codes of conduct. This one being for municipal officials is not council. So this is for every other employee, volunteer, contractor, anybody who works or associated with the town in any way. There is a separate policy for code of conduct for councilors.
Okay. So Councillor Dyson, did you want to expand further at this point?
No, I
or-
just think
okay.
it's important
Yeah,
that everybody
absolutely.
reads that and understands.
And then our next one is the rules and procedures of meetings. And again, we are in the same vein. This is something that it now states pursuant to the authority conferred by the Towns and Local Service District Act. And was it, I'm going to look to our CAO, again, just language? Okay. So it's a 15-page document for this one as well, and this just talks about meetings open to the public, and again, changing the term privileged to closed. And so it's just to make sure that we fit neatly into the new Towns and Local Service District Act, where we had so many years of the Municipalities Act of 1999.
Okay,
And if
before
there's, I was gonna say, if there's no
to
discussion on those items,
Yeah.
and I know Councillor Williams is on the phone, but if there's no discussion, I'll give the deputy a chance to,
Yeah,
And,
before you move on to the next one, 3.3, it's regarding the Mokami Status Women Council, and I am a board member, so I'll pass the chair over to Councillor Dyson.
So that's the first one, I think, is it?
it's actually all of 3.3, but it's 3.3 from 1 to 6.
Okay.
Okay, so for discussion at our public meeting, we will have property tax exemption requests. I have no idea what that is. From,
Found it, it was right there.
you found it? Okay. The Mokami Status of Women's
Something was
Council.
vibrating.
So on our briefing note, the town has been approached by the Mokami Status of Women Council for property and business tax exemptions for their property at 43 Grenfell Street. On the basis that policy F0009 dictates the audited financial statements should be reviewed, and based on the audited financial statements reviewed, they reflected the income position for 2024 and 2025. So management recommends that based on the guidelines that we have, there will be a recommendation to approve a percentage-based tax relief for one property tax, percentage-based, again, for another. Water and sewer, I do believe we don't exempt for anybody. We don't have that power. So water and sewer is different than property tax. So although they have asked, that would be something that doesn't fit into F0009. And then there is a business tax relief request, but they haven't provided financial statements. So I'm assuming, I'm going to look at the CAO, that has been conveyed to them, that they're made aware of what they are missing. Hopefully. Okay. So we will hope, and we'll follow up if needed, and I'm sure that when they learn that they are missing documents, that they will reach out to us to ensure that they have submitted everything that they need, because they will want to be considered.
So that's the only reasons those ones are being denied is
Well,
because-
water and sewer,
Water and
there's a
sewer
recommendation
is
to
a
be
given.
denied because
Yep.
it's not
But
something.
the other ones are just basically waiting on if they provide the financial
We
statements.
have some that the recommendation to is to approve based on the formula that we have in that policy. But there is one that has a recommendation to deny, and that one is specific.
Well, the three are 2026, because there's no financial statement provided, right?
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one is 2026 water and sewer, so that won't
That one's
qualify
off.
anyway.
The table.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely, I mean, something that we'll discuss at our public meeting, or vote on in our public meeting, but, you know, it's, F0009 has a formula. It's, you know, something that we can use to calculate what percentage, if any, of relief, and that goes anywhere from 25% on up to 100%. But we do need the financial statements in order to make those decisions. And if nobody has any other comments on that, I don't know about Counselor Williams, who's on the phone. Are you all good with that?
All good with that, yep, thanks.
Okay, so I guess we can bring the deputy back.
Easy peasy.
And I only have one other item. And this one is a donation request from Queen of Peace Middle School. And the town has been approached by the principal for a monetary donation or gift card towards the school's year-end awards fund. This would go towards awards and recognition as part of their year-end awards ceremony. What we need to consider is if this follows policy F0020, which is our donation policy. And the criteria for that is that it is based in Happy Valley-Goose Bay, has direct benefit to residents of Happy Valley-Goose Bay, is a not-for-profit, and if they provided any fundraising efforts or a total detailed cost breakdown. So management or staff is bringing forward the recommendation that we approve a donation of $500 to Queen of Peace Middle School's awards, as this request supports local students and provides a direct community benefit. Any discussion on that item?
Is this the first time that we donated to,
This is the first time this
For
has come
the-
forward to us
for the Queen of Peace Middle
for,
School?
for this particular year-ends award ceremony. So previously, donations have been made to their Kids Eat Smart program, to their French immersion program. We very recently donated to the MORP grade 7 celebration. But an awards thing, and I think if we're going to kind of look at it through the, because this is one school, you know, at this point of the year, I don't think we've had anything come forward from the primary school. We have donated to the Safe Grad for the high school. So, you know, just something that we need to look at as to, okay, if we're going to give a donation, then the end of year, you know, this is something with a reward and recognition, not geared towards one grade, but I would imagine to all 4 grades. So definitely, you know, nice to see people recognized, especially young people.
Yes. Okay.
Any other
so-
discussion?
No.
If not, that is it for me for finance.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Rumble. Moving on to Councilor Dyson, Community Planning and Development.
Okay, we just have 2 applications. One is a discretionary land use, well, they're both. So one is an accessory building at 2 Heffler to comply with the development regulations. Of course, the property is zoned residential low density. The proposed primary building is 40 feet 8 inches by 45 feet 8 inches, which is relatively smaller than the existing accessory building on the site. And as per the definition of accessory building in the town's development regulations of 2018 to 2028, detached subordinate building not used as a dwelling located on the same lot as the main building to which it is an accessory and which has a use that is customarily incidental or complementary to the main use of the building or land. For residential purposes, domestic garages, carports, ramps, sheds, swimming pools, greenhouses, cold frames, fuel sheds, vegetable storage cellars, shelters for domestic pets, or radio and television antenna. And as per section 62212, discretionary decisions of council, in making discretionary decisions with respect to accessory buildings, council shall consider the location of the accessory building on the lot, the size of the accessory building compared to the dwelling on the lot, and the size of structures of neighboring properties, the visibility of the structure from neighboring properties and/or street, if the accessory building will block a view and/or light from adjoining properties, the use of the accessory building, site conditions such as topography and the presence of wetlands, and any other on-site conditions that may warrant council's considerations. Any more discussion on that?
Any discussion on, yes, Councilor Rumble?
Thank you, Deputy. What I wanted to know, I guess from the town engineer, like, I'm reading that, or Councilor Dyson just read it out. So it says visibility of the structure from neighboring properties and/or street, but is this something that we put out in the form of a public feedback ad? Or is that not, because like, how do we determine if this is something that the neighborhood says, you know, it's, you know, very visible from my property or not, if we don't put it out to a public feedback?
Well, I agree, you should go through a public consultation, a public, look for public input. It doesn't say in the regulations that it has to for an accessory building, but I think it would be a good idea to actually get the public feedback, so council can then base its decision based on the feedback that they do receive from the public on this matter.
My question then, Mr. Dillon, on this one, because I know he submitted this when? Can you tell me when this was submitted? This is June, and he started on this what date?
Well, this one was April.
I think back
I'm not
in
sure, Deputy Mayor.
February?
There's been a number of iterations of these plans and, and not meeting. The fact is, the accessory building was constructed before the primary building. As everyone's aware, the primary building is still not constructed yet. So we're trying to, the cart was put before the horse to begin with. And so now we're trying to make it such that he can construct a primary building that meets the regulations as well as the existing accessory building will also comply at the
So
same
if the
time.
public consultation was put out tomorrow, it could be finalized before the public meeting?
Yes.
7 days, right?
It would be a 7-day public consultation process. We should have would be a 7-day deadline, and all comments then would be directed to council for their review, to the public council meeting in 2 weeks' time.
Because the plans that he has here are exactly that. They would meet those regulations, right?
The plans that he has submitted do meet all the regulations when it comes to height, setbacks, and so on. The only issue is the size of the building, and if council determines that it's complementary to the main use of the building and or land.
So I don't have an issue with it if, and I'm aware that the the neighbors on that property closest to that, have submitted a letter, supporting, they have no issue with it either, but I do understand a public consultation going out in that area, and it will be back before the public meeting. I just, considering, the applicant started this process many months ago, and the building season here is short, so I would want it, back within 7 days. I would like to see it personally, and before the public meeting.
Yes, that could be easily done. So,
All right, any other discussion on this one? Councilor Winters?
Yeah, it's not more or less an issue. I know what you were saying, Deputy Mayor, but my issue is when we say approve the compliance of the existing accessory building, meaning we're not putting a stop work order or anything there in place. But my issue is, once we approve it, how long does he have to take to start building the house? Because he could have this like this for the next 5-10 years.
no,
Theoretically.
exactly. And the motion will then note that he'll have a time frame in which to
Okay,
complete.
that's what I was wondering.
I think his
'cause
intention is
Because
to
this kind of leaves
complete-
it open here.
Yes, the intention is to complete the building this summer.
Yeah.
And he's in a rush to get this done also. So, we would put in a deadline or a timeline
Okay.
as to when he's
Yeah,
gonna
that
have
was
to
the
have this completed. And like you say, this should be, and the intention is to have it completed this summer.
Good for me.
And that would be
Okay.
in the motion.
All right. Everybody good with that one? Okay, the second one, I only have two. The second one is a discretionary use application for a custom personalized home-based business on Brett Street. The property is zoned residential multi-unit, and as per section 6.3 of the Municipal Development Regulations 2018-2028, a home-based business is a discretionary use in this zone. The applicant is looking to operate a home-based design and engraving business for personalized custom items. The property owner has approved the discretionary land use application for home-based business submitted by the applicant. The discretionary land use ad was placed on the town website for comments from June the 3rd to the 10th for the full 7 days as required by the town development regulations, so that's up tomorrow, obviously. The town has not received any comments or concerns with regards to this application to date, so it's only up till tomorrow, like I said, and we'll update members if there are any comments received prior to the council meeting. So this application is also has to be compliance with municipal development regulations with special reference to section 6.3 home business in the residential land use class, compliance with all other provincial and federal authorities as required, obtain application for occupancy business registration at the applicant's cost, obtain a fire, life, and safety inspection as per NFPA 101 at the applicant's cost. Operation shall be per the noted conditions in submitted discretionary use application, and the business activity does not result in traffic congestion, on-street parking overflow, electrical interference, fire hazards, or health hazards. Any questions on that one?
Counselor Rumble?
Yes, please. I do have a question, and I mean, I'm not trying to make an assumption, I just want to definitely make it clear. So the applicant has indicated that they are the owner of the property, or that they haven't included the signature of the property owner, because on the application, it always says applicant signature, property owner if required. But I was under the impression that somebody else, other than the applicant, owned this property.
It is noted in that background that the property owner has approved, so you're right, it doesn't have,
But they haven't
it doesn't
signed
have a
off on that
signature, so-
application. So I would like to see that corrected before we pass anything, is that, you know, on that application, there is no signature of the property owner, and where it is, if it is a rental unit.
So can we have staff reach out to them for that, Mr. Dillon?
Yes, Counselor. The engineering tech did have a discussion with the property owner, and he did give his approval, but I suggested that he also phone him back and get something in writing
Yep,
saying that
just
he
to
approved
sign the
that.
bottom of that.
So hopefully, well, presumably, we already have that. So I'll ensure that that's in place before it actually comes to council in 2 weeks' time.
Sometimes the property owner will send an email into the engineering tech.
Yeah.
So that's not a signature that you'll see on the form, but they will.
But
have-
it
Right,
is
but yeah, if we
confirmation.
have
Yep.
something, yeah. Okay, no, that was my only question regarding that one.
Okay, any further discussion? And I think that's it for you, Counselor Dyson.
That's it for me, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, so moving on to protective services, and I just got a couple things I want to mention on that one is, the transient issue, it continues to be an issue in our community, and
Sorry, you're gonna have to pass the gavel. You
Oh,
can't chair
sorry.
and bring up stuff.
sorry.
Oh, okay.
As the chair of the protective services, I'm gonna pass the gavel to Counselor Dyson, because I can't chair and discuss, items while I'm chairing.
Okay.
All right, so protective services transient issue, I encourage anybody out there who sees any illegal activity to contact the RCMP. There, you know, that we know that there's still things going on in this community. We had a meeting this morning with, many ministers and the Premier Wakeham, so, we're, looking forward to further discussions with him and, with our Premier in a couple weeks' time. I did ask to add Peacock primary concerns, and, we can have a little discussion. Mr. Butler, I don't know if you wanna come down, or you can talk from there, whichever. I can talk from here. Yeah. So, we received a letter from, a teacher from Peacock around this area, and, with concerns around safety for the students there, with large groups of people going through their parking lot, and they're behind the area, the playground area. And I know we discussed this before in the past, and, I don't know, maybe by the next public meeting, you could find some information to come back to see how we can try to help with this situation. It's,
I know, myself and CAO had a conversation about this issue, and in the complainants, or I won't say complainant, in the person's email to the town, they mentioned blocking off of an easement or whatever along those lines. We weren't sure if they meant the hydro easement, because that hydro easement runs in behind Cabot, say from Green and then on over to Cabot or Hauser, going on over that way. We wouldn't be able to block off that easement. But if, and the discussion we had was if Peacock owned the land or the school board owned the land, say inside, they could fence their property as a potential. We weren't sure what those strict pieces were that they were requesting.
Yeah, I think when I read about the easement, when I discussed about the easement, because there is access from Peacock to Hydro's easement,
Right.
and they should be able to block that off.
If it's there,
If it's school board's property, yes, but you can't block off one end or the either end.
No.
So, Mr. Butler, are you going to reach out to the school board or the person who submitted the email to follow up with this?
She's off now. She's, I think she's in St. John's now, but yes, I can make contact with the
School
principal of
board.
Peacock, see that piece, if the complaint went to her as well, and, audit that piece along those lines, so.
Yeah,
Because it is concerning, because it's been an issue ongoing for years, and when there's no school, they're in there drinking alcohol, beating beer bottles up, and children do go to that playground throughout the summer.
What Councilman Winters had said, if the land is owned by the school board of Peacock, they could potentially do something along those lines, but would they want to? That's the piece we don't know either.
Yeah. So you will follow up for the public meeting? Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor Rumble.
I just wanted to add, I think it's important to note, just for the clarity side of it, that the letter came from a resident of town who happens to be a teacher at Peacock Primary School. The letter did not come from the Newfoundland Labrador English School District or the school itself.
Right.
So we don't know if this teacher forwarded this letter. When I look at the letter and I look at who's CC'd, I see it coming to the town council and staff, but I don't see a CC for NLESD. So I think it's really important that we have conversation with NLESD as well, so that they're aware that, you know, we will cooperate with them, but we want them to basically step up as well.
and
Yes.
I can speak to that, because this teacher contacted me, and I provided her with all of the council emails. But I did have a conversation with her, and, you know, it is a school issue because the teachers are having to deal with it. Now, you know, you look at the fact, as our fire chief said, you know, and the school is going to be out soon, but that doesn't mean that the playground is not used. And I went down there just after I talked to this teacher. And ironically, I went down there, and it was, there were others there that were walking through with alcohol, and, you know, you're walking through a playground. So however that needs to be addressed, something has to be addressed, because this is a safety issue, and this is a bunch of school kids. And it's not, you know, I mean, not that the age is the thing, but these are kindergarten to grade 3 kids who are witnessing that. So as a teacher, when you have to herd your kids away from that, I don't think that's acceptable. So that has to be dealt with that somehow.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that goes to the bigger picture of how do you deal with the thing all on, because you look at the pictures that she sent, you can see 14 and 15 individuals walking amongst kids, basically, or where kids play.
Yeah. And if I was a part of the powers that be with NLESD, I would certainly want to make sure that my staff had a safe workplace, that the children that attend the school have a safe place. So I'm certainly hoping that they will be on board and cooperative when it comes to, you know, working together to get this solution.
And as well, the fencing that's around that playground, there was a time, several times actually, that some of that fencing was broke down, and they were coming right through the middle of the swings and the slides and stuff. That fencing keeps being repaired because it keeps getting beat down, but still, the problem is coming out around and still coming through the
And
entire
it's confusing
property.
because a lot of the playgrounds in town are town playgrounds, and this one is not. Am I correct? This one is not a town playground, right? This is a school playground.
And there's work done out of courtesy on that one over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
Did it come back to us?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we can,
Maybe not full, but it was
We do some maintenance.
Yeah.
on the-
Yes.
right,
We do some maintenance on the
Yeah.
playground.
okay.
I'm just gonna go back to the picture again, and you mentioned fencing. This is not a fencing issue. They're walking from Cook Street, behind the school, to Cabot.
Yeah, but what they're doing is
They're coming in, by the look of it,
There's a pathway.
Okay.
there's a whole path going there.
But there's also a path from the easement
Yes.
sign that follows the houses behind Cabot.
Well,
It leads up into the pit somewhere.
Yeah, either way, they gotta get
I
on.
was gonna say, this is also an ongoing issue, we've heard it several times in previous years, Headlands Apartments. That whole area from Headlands Apartments right down, there's lots of issues going on there.
I don't know, to me, this is resolved with foot patrols, but we don't have enough people to be in the vehicles that are at the detachment, let alone foot patrols, so.
Yeah, anyway, so, we'll wait for, update on that one, Mr. Butler. The other one, the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan, we're on target to be, have a final report from Mr. Davis by the end of June, which is gonna be presented to council. So I'm looking forward to that one. So anybody out there that don't know what the Community Safety Wellbeing Plan is, there is a survey online, and it's been out there for months. And if you don't use computer, you can come to the town to get a paper copy of a survey. So, you know, now's your chance. It's getting finalized in the next few weeks, so if you still want to have your input on the Community Safety Plan, I encourage you to go online or come to the town. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was properties around town. There's some properties, and I sent an email on this a few weeks ago, and if it's rental properties, we should be following up with, if it's Newfoundland Labrador Housing, Melville Native Housing, or whoever. Some of the properties in this town are disgusting. Say it like it is. We need to, you know, step it up, and there needs to be cleanup orders issued to the landlords or whoever owns these properties. But if you drive around the community, is just not fit in some of these properties. So I don't know where we can go with that CAO, but I did send an email on it a few weeks ago to try to address some of these properties.
I think we need an updated list of these properties,
Yeah.
because what we've got is very old.
Yeah, and you got some, you know, a lot of property owners who are doing everything in their power to beautify their land and keep it up, and even people that are living in rentals, and to go, you know, in some areas to see the mess that's in some of these yards, it's just not acceptable. So, we'll keep that one on and get an update on that one, I guess, at the public meeting, Mr. Butler? Okay, okay.
One thing. I just want to ask a question about the bike path, and I know what was sent out about doing, I think it was a video, a promotional video regarding staying up. That might well all be good, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I'm still going to go back to these people who are using the bike path as a road for their ATVs. They're not going to stop at a video, and I think we need to be stronger in our message, meaning finding a way to work with the RCMP and start handing out fines. I'm after getting 3 or 4 phone calls about people that were almost clipped by kids on these four-wheelers that are using it as basically a road. And I just think we need to do more with regards to working with the RCMP or something to make sure that people stay off of that bike path with motorized vehicles.
Yeah, I agree, Councilor Winters. Is, you know, a shame that we worked so hard to upgrade, you know, for many years trying to upgrade that bike trail. And, you know, the pavement is gonna be the same way it was last year before we put the new pavement, if that ATV usage continues. And, we briefly discussed in the past about security cameras. That may have to be an option at some point. You know, if the fines are not working and the patrols, and we may have to step it up. So that's another discussion, Mr. Butler, that we can have at some point to get an update.
We can, yeah, I don't have any other, I mean, he has been performing patrols on it, and I think there is an active file with the RCMP in relation to maybe one of these types of scenarios Councilor Winters spoke of. I don't know if they have anything in relation to that, but
Thank you. That's exactly what I want to hear. It's just, I mean, this is what, like, I mean, they took away our MEO's ability for highway traffic and moving violations, and then they do nothing for us with regards to this type of stuff. Not only that, but also on our streets. They take away our traffic cop. So basically is, yeah, give us
Yeah,
Give us
I
the
saw, at the top of, Kellen Drive, the Kellen Drive, Hamilton River Road entrance to the bike trail there. There's a big sign, no motorized vehicles, and then there's the gateway. And then there were 4 ATVs, not children, grown adults, that had used that as a meeting point before they proceeded. So they were there, they were off, they had their helmets, so they were following their safety rules with their helmets. And so they're stopped, they're having a chat, they put their helmets back on, and they proceed down the walking trail, despite the big no motorized vehicle sign. So,
Yeah.
it's very sad to see things like that, because we, you know what, a lot of the time, people are very quick to point at youth and teenagers, and when you have grown adults who absolutely should know better, setting that example, then, you know, how are we supposed to expect better of our young people?
I really think we need to do a media blitz on this and get some PSAs out, as many as we gotta put out there until you know, they're still gonna continue to do it, but if we can decrease the usage of ATVs, then,
Realize the consequences.
yeah. And more signage, is gonna be put up there, I understand, so, but we really need to stay on top of this one, or if not, the asphalt is gonna be ruined before we even know it, so.
Well, we had that discussion earlier today in our meeting with a bunch of those officials, and to, you know, we're fighting to get the services back that we need in the town with the municipal enforcement officer. And coincidentally, when I was leaving work today and on the way home, there was a man on a scooter, not a kid, not a youth, a grown man on a scooter, flying up Hamilton River Road. He was holding a tire of, I don't know, going up tire, and he wiped out, and the tire went flying out onto the road, and the tire was ran over by a vehicle. So obviously he was taking this tire somewhere to be replaced on whatever it was, and then the tire was bent like a banana. So, you know, it just speaks to, like you said, you know, we're not talking about the youth and the kids that are on these scooters, although that's a huge issue. But when grown adults are driving down the road and things like this happen, you can only imagine what's going to happen. And we had an accident on Saunders a couple of nights ago, where we've got a young family who could have been looking at something very different, as opposed to the mother of these children, being in emerge and being released to go home with, you know, a concussion and a bloody nose, with 2 kids in a stroller and the grandmother. It could have been a very different situation. So, you know, traffic control is huge here, and the MEO, you know, we need our MEO back with the authority that he's had, back on the street.
Yeah, definitely, and like you said, we talked about that this morning with the Premier and with the Minister of Justice, and moving violations is very important. It all falls under public safety. We also don't have our security, who could be patrolling that area too, if we had them. So anyway, we'll get an update on that from Mr. Butler on our next meeting, and if there's no other discussion on protective services, we'll move on to Councillor Williams with,
Okay, no, she got it.
she's gone?
No, I was looking at the gavel, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, so, Councillor Williams, Municipal Services.
An exciting time for municipal services, Deputy Mayor. We are moving to an asset sale for some declining value asset. So we're reviewing the town's vehicle fleet, and we've identified several vehicles that are no longer required due to replacement, age, condition, operational changes, or excessive maintenance costs. So the vehicles have reached the end of their useful life for our town, to be replaced by newer equipment, but that means we will be moving to an asset sale through either public tender or to retain the vehicles. So it's recommended that we do proceed with a public tender to dispose of vehicles, and we will obviously bring that out for fair market value, to anybody interested in purchasing. Should I go through the vehicles?
No, it's in our package, so we can, yeah, I think if everyone read their package, we know what they are.
I think that's gonna be listed publicly, though, so.
Yes, yeah.
There will, to dispose of assets requires a public motion of council. So at the council
Okay.
meeting in June, there will be a motion for each individual
Right.
asset.
Okay.
Okay, and there's other things there other than vehicles. We do have a few pieces of office equipment as well, by the looks of things.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, anything further, Counselor Williams?
No, but very excited that municipal services has something to talk about this month.
We'll be glad to have you back in town, Jill.
I will be home on Saturday, thank goodness.
Okay, so moving on to, community services and recreation.
Mr. Dillon has
Oh.
something.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Dillon?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. I received a revised schedule for the paving and upgrading of Grenfell and Loring Drive today. So, in my report, it was initially stated that the work would start towards the end of June, early July. Schedule now is for the work to start on June 15th. It'll be completed 2 weeks later. So it'll be a 2-week construction project
Of this year?
of this year, and it will start on the Monday coming.
Monday coming.
Yay.
Okay.
So there'll be a PSA, sent
Earlier
out
than expected.
earlier than expected. This is like.
So
this
both of
is-
them are Grenfell and then Loring? Or?
Both will be done in 2 weeks.
Okay, excellent.
I'm telling you, municipal services is the place to be, more exciting by the minute.
And before you finish there, Councilor Williams, Mr. Dillon, I seen in the report the charger is now going to be completed on June.
June 24th was the latest schedule I received. So there was an issue with the transformers, with the electrical equipment. They were custom made, and the last update I had was the 24th. So hopefully that'll be, most of the work is done, with the exception of some of this electrical work.
Yeah, from my understanding, when I spoke to them, they said that the parts that they're waiting on had to be manufactured.
Yeah,
Because they
yes.
don't make them.
That's correct, Councillor.
Okay.
One other thing, before you get into that, the items that we talked about for tax sales for different properties, I know a few years ago, we talked about so many per year. Because when I'm looking at these properties that are listed in our package, some of them are dated back to 2023 and 2024. So is there a schedule or a plan moving forward of how many will be dealt with this year?
Are you speaking of dilapidated buildings?
No,
or
we're
derelict
talking about
buildings?
the tax sale process, because some of them have no owners. So has there been any updates on that?
Not for this year.
The last we done was 5, and that was probably about a year ago.
Well, we ended up, we started off with 5, but we ended up doing tax sales on 2 properties in September. The process is long and cumbersome, so the collections process will start. We've had an issue with some, I'll say, understaffed in the finance department. So that will be, once everybody is back in place, collections will be a priority, and we're gonna start with water and, water shut-off notices before we do the arrears sales.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so no further discussion on municipal services. We'll move into community services and recreation.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just got a couple of things from the report from CSR Director. The first one is the YMCA FAC Committee. FAC for June was canceled due to YMCA announced staff not being available. Then I just, for my own personal, and I just started thinking about, okay, this meeting has been canceled in December, January, February, March, April, and May. Well, sorry, not in February, because they were asked to provide a 5-year plan instead of the 1-year plan. from my understanding, they usually take time off in July and August. And we have requested a 5-year business plan. Is there any idea on what their plan is for providing that?
We should be able to get an update at the June's meeting.
Yeah, because like you said, like, it was canceled like so many times, and I remember from being on that committee is they take time off in the summer. And now this is this is like I said, out of the last 6 months, 5 meetings haven't happened because.
So 5 monthly meetings out of 6 have been canceled?
From what I can read, yes. December was canceled. January, in the February report for January, the Y provided that 1-year plan. So there was a meeting in January. And then the March report, meeting February, the claim wasn't ready, so there was a meeting, sorry. But then April, reporting on March, meeting was canceled due to members' inavailability. May report regarding April, I think the report was no report as CSR director missed a meeting, so there must have been a meeting then, but no report provided. You know what I mean? So we're waiting on a 5-year business plan that we have no idea where it's to or.
No, they can't put together a plan if they're not meeting.
No, exactly.
Sorry, the 5-year plan we requested from the YMCA?
Yes.
This FAC, this is a meeting of staff, council.
And YMCA.
YMCA.
Yep.
That committee does not develop the plan.
No.
No.
That comes from the YMCA.
Yeah, exactly. And like from what was reported in February, in March regarding the February meeting, at the time of the meeting, the claim was not ready. There was no presentation. The Y acknowledged our request for a more detailed 5-year project and aims to have it ready for the next monthly meeting in April. And now this is June. This is where I'm going with it, right? You know what I mean? I'd just like to get some clarity on where that 5-year plan is, because then if you go back and look at the finances, they need to get a proper plan in place because it's constantly losing money. I understand that they're gonna lose money, but it'd be more, like I say, understandable if we knew if they had a plan to try to recoup some of it, or are they gonna go in a different direction with some other programs, or how they're gonna work this out, right? So I'm just like, for me, it's just like, I'd like to see their 5-year plan so we can say, okay, yeah, we know what you're gonna be doing for the next 5 years, instead of the one which they provided last time, with 2 different scenarios.
So you'll follow up with that,
The other one was, regarding the Y again, the Community Advisory Committee, there was discussion about cafe smell and its impact on customers. I was just wondering, would you know what the smells are and what's going on?
The what?
Smells wonderful last time I was there.
That's what I mean, I'm guessing restaurant food?
So, yeah, when that committee met, it was brought up about the smell, I guess, in there of, what the cafe is heating up, because they don't actually cook anything.
No, I think it was all air fryers, right?
But there was, I'll say, a smell of fast food or
Yes.
deep-fried food, which is disturbing to some people that are there to work out.
Exactly, I wouldn't want.
And the whole intent of the cafe inside the YMCA and the agreement between the town and the YMCA was to have a healthy choices option in the facility.
Yes, it is a wellness center.
Yes. So there was a discussion about that, and the YMCA will be speaking with the cafe owner.
Okay, yeah, because it is not equipped with ventilation whatsoever in there, right?
That's right, Councillor.
And I think that was it, yeah, other than, just like to congratulate Don, he's not here, but we did receive IGA funding of $50,000 for the Central Hung Score Clock. which is
I just wanted to say one thing there, Councilor Romo. While we're talking about the YMCA, did we ever get anywhere with who's responsible for maintaining the landscaping outdoors? Are we gonna have the same issue with the grass this summer?
I'm in communication with Pamela now, like over the last little while. And I have discussions with ARC 49. So the intention is to get that finalized to share. Right now, they are still responsible for the outside maintenance until we actually accept the landscaping, and it hasn't been accepted yet. So the intention is to get that finalized to share.
Are you gonna follow up with them, Mr. Dillon? Because they've been saying that now for the last, how many years?
Yes, it was supposed to have been completed last year.
What about the deficiency list?
Yes, we're down to, out of many, well, between 100 and 200, I think we have about 13 or left or something. So we're hoping to get that finalized, like, some of the, I'm also consulting some legal advice to move this along a bit faster also.
Because we talk about beautifying our community, we can start right there with that
Yeah,
overgrown.
now, some of the landscaping too is natural, is not supposed to be
Yeah.
mowed or anything. So it's a natural vegetation. But there is still, I know that there was a lot of topsoil missing during the initial landscaping
Yeah.
project. So there is work, some of the plants didn't take and they were supposed to be warranty too. So there are a few items with the landscaping that need to be rectified, and the intention is to have that done this year.
And one more thing I wanted to ask under this report was to the CAO, because Dominic's not here, but the bike rodeo, is there any plans with that this year? I know the town worked with the RCMP in the past.
Brad is.
PSA went out this evening, just before this meeting.
Oh, okay, okay,
Barry just,
okay.
I've got some donations from Pikes, Co-op, donated bikes donate one every year. Normark's gonna be showing off the barbecue for the kids with hot dogs and drinks and stuff. Mary Brown's is gonna donate some treats, like beverages and stuff like that. I started a couple of small people, I'm gonna go out and I got a budget that I'm gonna, buy some donuts. RCMP's gonna be a part of it. I reached out to military police officer Craig Cooper, if you got someone available, we're gonna be there, but Normark's gonna come and do the barbecue. So that's on June 27th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And PSA is out today, and I got some folks to stick up around town tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Poole. Councilor Rumble.
Thank you, Deputy. I had one thing I wanted to bring up under Community Services and Recreation, and this is questions that I have asked, but it's going to be a long process. But while I've got the engineer here, I've been approached by a group of citizens who are interested in a playground development for their neighborhood. There are 2 areas nearby that they have kind of expressed interest in, and one is zoned EP and the other one is zoned OSPT. And I just had some questions about how to answer, and I gotta be honest, like, I've been on this council for a while, and I myself struggle with reading our development regulations, like, it's like a lot of pages and a lot of detail, and so to say to somebody in the community, oh yeah, well, go to the town website and look up the development regulations, and I can't in good conscience do that, knowing that I myself struggle with it. So I'm just wondering if there is a group that is interested in a neighborhood playground, what kind of land, like these 2 areas that they have identified, one zoned EP and the other one OSPT, is it a possibility in either of those for a playground development?
I'm in the same boat as you, Councillor, because I
Okay.
would have to consult the regulations, and like
Okay.
I say, each classification, each zoning has its own list. Some are permitted, some is discretionary, and they have various overlapping, with some of the uses. So I can,
Okay, so
Yes.
I'm just gonna get back to them and say, you know what, we're working, because like, I read environmental protection EP, and it says permitted use classes, discretionary use classes, so permitted is conservation and forestry, discretionary is public services and public utilities, recreation, open space, and trails and utilities. And so I was just trying to interpret that as to being, okay, is that something where, a playground falls under that? And the other one being OSPT, open space, parks, and trails. And I don't know if parks and playgrounds are interchangeable terms or not.
depends on what neighborhood you're in.
So, yeah, before these, because I mean, it's a parents group that would like to, you know, form and start doing the legwork, and before they get into that situation, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, lead them down the garden path, and then say, I've led you down a path, and this is very early conversation. It's just a neighborhood. It's my neighborhood, and that's why I was contacted, was because it's adjacent to my neighborhood. There is a lot of young families, and you know, it's a growing neighborhood where they're very interested in the possibility of a neighborhood playground. But again, I myself, I know, I've looked at the maps. I know that there is one area that is EP, the other one is OSPT. But if it's not doable, I'd rather just tell them, okay, there is nothing in our area for you to explore. And just, yeah. So that's it. I'll continue to work with staff and see what we can find out and see how this even works, but,
Are you in a conflict, Councilor Romo, because it's in your area?
if we get to the point where they want to apply for it, but right now, it's an asking the question of, what do I say to somebody? Yeah.
That's a long process, so I think
I know it's yeah,
He'll-
but don't even, I guess, I don't want them to even get invested in it if it's not doable.
No, I
right?
understand
So,
that.
you know, to be able to say to them, there's only 2 areas. One would be, I guess, to the west of the Mitchell Pottle development. The other one would be to the east.
I think
And-
I think personally that you should get them to contact the town engineer directly, and maybe if they're identifying areas, then our engineer would be able to say what's appropriate or what's,
Yeah, and I
allowed.
did send off an email saying, you know, is there anybody who can tell me, so that, again, so that they don't get invested if it's not doable, so. Okay, no, that was all I had under
Okay.
community service and
Councilor
recreation.
Winters?
Yes, I just gotta go back to, I'm just rereading some of the, meeting notes from the FAC committee. Feedback was provide increase non-smoking signage at the front entrance. I'm guessing there's smoking going on at the front entrance if they're asking for more signage.
front entrance of where?
YMCA.
In YMCA.
RCA.
So now, I can understand saying, yeah, we'll put up a sign, but is there anyone, is that being enforced at all? And who would enforce it? I'm guessing it's not enforced, and it's not enforced by staff of the YMCA. Like, I mean, we can put up all the signs we want, but I mean, kids are just gonna look at the sign and spark up.
I mean, they play
You
a
know what I
message
mean?
on repeat at the Labrador Health Center,
No, exactly.
and it
So,
doesn't stop people from smoking.
what would be the purpose of putting up the sign? It's just my opinion. I just thought it's strange. It's okay, yeah.
It's sad.
I don't know how many signs are already up. I mean, you can put up as many signs you want, but unless people are gonna say, okay, you can't not smoke here, then they're just gonna go right ahead. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up, so. And the last thing is before, like I say, usually at the end of his reports is what's going on in the month. So what's going on in town between now and our final meeting is both male and female, men's and female slow pitch seasons have started. June 8th to 10th is ongoing now. This is the Recreational NL Regional Seminar. June 17th, Healthy Waters Labrador AGM. June 20th, Community Paddle, Muskrat Falls to Birch Island. June 19th, end of Lake Melville Minor Soccer Association indoor season is over. June 20th, Strong Kid event at the YMCA. June 20th to 27th is Expo Labrador. And June 22nd is the start of Minor Ball. And July 1st is Canada Day. So that's everything I have.
Before we end with your report, I just wanted to bring one thing, because it falls under community services and recreation. I was brought to my attention today that a family had brought their children to Kinsman Park last week, and there was an encampment set up in just outside of the fence of the Kinsman Park. People were actually living there, and there was some chaos in the park with the family. They did contact the RCMP. The RCMP did remove the encampment. It was brought to the town's attention, I'm assuming Mr. Demers. But I would like, just to say that staff should be monitoring that park all the time. They gotta open it, they gotta lock it. That should never have happened. There was an encampment, there's people living there, I don't know how long, but I would suggest that, maybe staff could do some more monitoring of that area, and perhaps even our MEO, to ensure that that never happens again. There was, like I said, there was a family there, and there was the screaming, yelling, swearing, cursing behavior in front of some small children, 5 or 6 years old, so. Anyway, I just wanted to put that out there so that we can do more patrols in that area, so that never happens again. There should not be an encampment on the fence of Kinsman Park, where families frequent quite often, and we do other events in that park. So that was it on that. I don't know if anybody else got anything to that
Oh, Mr. Poole?
discussion.
Barry?
Mr. Poole?
And that's been addressed yesterday, myself and Randy's came through, addressed the two areas over there. On RCP would notify me when that happened, we were just waiting until we had availability to clean things up. We did this taken care of yesterday, everything that was there, John and I both, take that and stuff there.
Thank you again, Mr. Poole. All right, any other discussions around community service and recreation?
No.
Nothing else? Nothing else, CAO? We're, okay. All right, so I call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
So moved.